How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hope you guys are having a great and exceptional day. Alrighty, I'm keeping it in tradition with tonight's Sunday rant, so it's all good in the neighborhood. Alrighty, so time wasters, time wasters, time wasters. I always say we live in such a self-absorbed world nowadays, self-absorbed time. When people when people actually give you the truth in regards to anything, relationships, friendships, where they see themselves now, where they see themselves in the future, people get angry, people get mad. And this happens because they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to hear their truth. There's an old saying when people debate what people believe in, people want to debate what people do, how they do it. This old saying is, I know my truth. And I think everybody, in a sense, should know their truth. However, don't try to actually debate the truth. A lot of times people get, a lot of things happening in the world right now where people are getting caught up in their feelings over things that have nothing to do with their regular day to day, or not even their family and friends' regular day to day, but because they're getting themselves caught up in these situations and taking a side because the media does a beautiful job of ensuring that you have to take a side. Excuse me. And a lot of times it's like you have to abstain from getting involved in things that have nothing to do with your day to day. You have to abstain from getting involved in the things that have nothing to do with you growing. I myself have wasted a lot of time in doing these things. I myself have wasted a lot of time. I feel like during the first part of the pandemic, I was way more productive. Towards the end of the pandemic, I got too comfortable and too relaxed. Not saying I haven't done anything productive in regards to trying to work on my business and trying to get things done, but got more relaxed and laxed in regards to getting involved in things that have nothing to do with being more and more productive. Just getting. I always say the comfort zone is a death sentence, but yet and still I find myself involved in the comfort zone because I don't see any way out. To go old school with it, P. Diddy's first solo album, No Way Out. We all have those trials and tribulations. We all go through those specific things. But I think at the end of the day, and a friend of mine just posted this in regards to staying positive, being healthy, and putting your best foot forward. I think that once you do that, there's nothing in this life you can't accomplish. And I'm all for people having a significant other, but I always say if one cannot be happy by themselves, then they cannot be happy with anyone else. If you're constantly always need self-validation and need people to help you become happy, then I think you're going in the wrong direction in this life. I'm not acting like I'm a psychiatrist. I'm not at all. I just like to approach things from a common sense standpoint. Like a lot of times when I talk about any issues that are happening around the world, I always come at it from a numbers perspective. What is the economic impact on my life? Or what's the safety aspects of it on my life? Because neither one matter, then neither one needs to be talked about and discussed and debated. But a lot of people, they get used to debating for the sake of debating. I always talk about this, wasting time for the sake of wasting time, not looking for the collaboration, but looking for the competition. And to me personally, that is just the biggest waste of time that anyone can engage in. But hey, what do I know? This weekend has truly taught me that. Having in-depth discussions with a variety of people have taught me that about life, certain missions, certain goals, certain aspirations. And, a lot of times the conversations involve me say, hey, man, I need to get back on my grind, or man, I'm working too hard. But nowadays it feels like I'm not working hard enough. And the one thing I always respect a lot of certain successful entrepreneurs is like, hey, like the David Shan with the Sleepers for Suckers. He's like, the one thing you can't, or one person would say, the one thing you can't do is out hustle me. Like say what you want about 50 Cent, his hustle is strong. He just applied his same hustle that he had when he was in the streets into the boardroom, into the corporate room, into the studio. into creating movies and shows and things of that nature. That same kind of hustle, that same kind of work ethic, he applied the same thing, and it's working. It's working, and that's why I always say this: the best entrepreneurs are people that was in the streets. It's just can you transform your mind from the street mindset to the legal aspect? A lot of people can, a lot of people can't. A friend of mine was telling me about his brother, how he never pays taxes. He's everything is that he owns is basically, he doesn't own it. It's not like whether it's his vehicle, his home, bills, nothing is in his name. His business, he has a brick and mortar business, nothing is in his name. I'm not mad at it, but I'm just like, but you can't grow because you're not playing the game legally. And because you're not playing the game legally, you are cutting yourself off by getting access to capital. That's what kills a business. The main thing is lack of customers. And number two is lack of having access to capital. And that's the main thing with Black-owned businesses have the hardest time is getting access to capital to business loans. That's why I always advocate more, especially for young Black people, to have some sort of military service, whether it's reserves or active duty, because hey, this is the beautiful thing out of it. All right, you're able to serve your country. You're able to get access to capital in regards to being able to buy your own home with the VA loan, Veterans Affairs loans. You're able to get access to the Small Business Administration, SBU loans, and you're able to get access to other benefits, especially if you just want to go to college and have a regular job. You're able to do that, and it's all paid for. It's earned benefits, but you get those benefits. I think it's a beautiful thing, So it doesn't mean you have to stay in it for life, no. But I think it's a beautiful thing to have that opportunity and have that access, because it's like I said, we're not in the we shall overcome generation. We're not in the yes we can generation. We're not in the hey how you doing generation. We are in the access to capital generation. Okay, access to capital generation, and then I like to say we need to be in the, because we're not only in the access to capital generation, but we're in the false premise generation. And when I say false premise generation, especially regular everyday working people. I'm not talking about rich people, because one, I'm not rich, and two, but I do know how rich people think in regards to not everything, but when it comes to most things, and especially when it comes to relationships, because that's the biggest asset that anybody can have, is having a network of people that can help take their lives to the next level, and you become an asset for other people because you can help their lives help take their lives to the next level. But I will say with all sincerity that regular working people, especially men and especially women, I'm just going to keep it real. Nothing against anybody, but I'm just going to keep it real. Have realistic expectations in what you want out of life. Have realistic expectations of who you want out of life. And it's not all about looks, because a lot, we live in such a superficial world where people think, when I have this discussion, the subject matter, that it's all about looks. It's not. It's about character. It's about character, because I've seen a lot of people that quote unquote fall in this category of being a 10, men and women, but they're the biggest jerks and superficial individuals that you will ever meet in your freaking life. A picture doesn't say anything. Having a conversation with somebody says it all. Okay, and that's the misconception we get in the social media world. Because hey, I've had conversations with a lot of guys and gals and whatnot, whether I was trying to have a business relationship or I just have a relationship or have a friendship, and after 5 to 6 words, the whole conversation was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. And I can keep it real in that aspect. Just by 5 to 6 words, barely forming complete sentences, I can tell, like, yeah, this isn't going to work, because the priorities are out of whack. Demeanor is one thing, because I'm like, I don't have the best demeanor when you're dealing with me, because I'm just like, hey, I'm straightforward. I'm like, got stuff to do. Let's get it cracking, But the demeanor means a lot, And if you come out straight out of the gate like you're Damon Dash and you don't have Damon Dash money, I'm going to laugh at you. Because at least Damon Dash can back, like he always says, he can back his stuff up because he's a boss. Okay, he makes real economic boss moves. But when you're a regular working person talking like Damon Dash, It's the funniest thing on the planet. And something, like I said, at this point, it's just entertaining. Like, I was just on somebody's live recently, and talking about dating. You know, that's always the one big hot topic on social media. Nothing wrong with talking about this specific subject matter. But they're talking about dating and expectations, and I'm looking at this individual like, I think you're at a point in your life that you need to, because as we all get older, unless we're in a financial position to being well-to-do, you need to lower your expectations when it comes to friendships and relationships in the future. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm leaving it at that, because some people have the most unrealistic expectations that I've ever seen in my life. And they're just regular, everyday working people. I'm a regular, everyday working person. So that's why I have decent expectations, realistic expectations, but not extreme expectations. And the extreme expectations that I'm seeing, especially with a lot of females as they get older, sometimes just make me laugh. I'm just like, are we speaking the same language? You know, Steve Harvey likes to say a man should never ask a woman, what does she bring to the table? And I definitely beg to differ, because I always say, man, you in 2023 going into 2024, if you don't have the mindset of trying to operate like a corporation, then what the hell are we talking about in a capitalistic society? Can't speak for other nations, but in the United States of America, we live in a capitalistic society, and therefore we can't be wasting time with people who are not trying to talk about what's the next step, where we going, you know. Where's this train going? Are we standing still, or are we just talking trash? You know, because, hey, you've seen my social media. I like to have as much as fun as the next person. So, as I said, don't get me wrong. But I got to be realistic all at the same time. So, I leave it at that. And even sometimes it's like when you put your feelers out there, when it comes to engaging with people, they always do a great job of finding a way to disappoint, you know. So I'll leave it at that. But anyways, so this is officially the last week of October, I believe. Give me a second, because today is the 22nd. So let's look at the calendar. Let's look at the calendar. Okay, of course this calendar wants to be, oh, there we go. Yeah, all right, cool. So yeah, this is the last official week, and Halloween is this weekend. So let me know if you're going to any Halloween parties. Let me know if you going to dress up, all that good stuff. I've been trying to, but this year I really haven't been in the Halloween spirit compared to last year. So I'm just leaving it at that. But I digress. But anyways, so we officially have 2 months and 1 week left in 2023. And I still see a lot of people going into the new year with very limited or very unrealistic expectations, you know. And it doesn't bother me, but it just humors me at this point. Because when you try to have a conversation, as I was talking to my mother earlier, we had Sunday dinner. You know, it's a family thing. I don't have children, so only kids I have is 2 dogs. She was talking about how she tries to give advice to a lot of the young women in regards to, she's part of the Zumba community, people teaching how to dance and things of that nature. And a lot of times they don't want to take heed and hear any information that she has to say. And I'm just like, well, Mom, to be realistic, we're living in a time now where everybody thinks they know everything because they have access to all this information. You don't. I don't. And a lot of times when I'm talking, I can come across as being a know-it-all, but that's not how I try. I just come off as a person that, hey, I'm going to listen to your opinion. I will respect your opinion, whether I agree with it or not. But if I have something that's going to be to the contrary to what you're saying, I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. I mean, and I'm going to do it in the most respectful manner, unless you take me off, because I'm flawed. We all have character flaws. Nobody's perfect. I'm more of the introverted type, and I leave it at that. But a lot of times, people can't even, especially today, I think we probably live in one of the most emotional generations possible, from the 80s babies to the 90s babies. And I'm an 80s baby, so I'm not picking on any generation. But a lot of times people just don't have the emotional maturity. They might have the age, but they don't have the emotional maturity to be able to respond in an intelligent, respectful, adult manner. when it comes to disagreeing with somebody. Because a lot of times when I disagree with somebody, you think I would have said F you to my response. But 9 times out of 10, that's not how I respond to people. And then when I say one thing, if I say the sky is blue, people will be like, so you're saying I'm stupid because the sky is blue, right? Because I disagree that the sky is blue. I said, did I say the words, you're stupid? I was like, trust me. If I think you're stupid, I'm going to say you're an idiot. That's just, I'm a to the point kind of speaker. You know, like whether you love him or hate him, that's the one thing people love about Donald Trump. He's a straight shooter, and it is what it is. You know, right? Is it the way that I want to approach things? No. But if I truly think somebody's an idiot, they're going to know, and I'm not going to dance around it like people are trained to do nowadays. I'm going to say you're a brain dead idiot. I'm going to keep it simple. But that's how I am. But that's 9 times out of the time I'm not going to say that, because you have to take me there for me to want to say that. And even then, I try to restrain from revealing that side of me, because, like I said, we all need to be put in a position where we are controlling our emotions, you know. But having realistic expectations is what it is. And then another thing is, we live in a time where, and I've been guilty of this myself, where people get bored too easily. And I remember working 2 to 3 jobs, and I would have killed, and I mean would have killed, to be able to say I'm bored. There used to be nights that I didn't get any sleep. I never forget that. Working 2 jobs during the week, working a job on the weekend, and I would look forward to the weekend because I know I at least didn't have to work 2 jobs, only had to work 1 job, but I still didn't get to sleep in. I remember those days. I don't miss those days. The money was good. Good, easy money, but I don't miss those days. So that's why it boggles my mind when people say I'm bored when they're at a job. Most people can't say that. When they're at a job, people working their butts off. Or when they have some time to themselves, even the parents, and they say I'm bored. I don't understand that concept, but that's just me. I love my peace and quiet. It gives me a moment to think, reflect, and to get things done. But the moral of the story is, a lot of times people just don't have enough to do. If I'm just going to be realistic about it, a lot of times people don't have enough to do. A lot of times people, they got too much time on their hands, you know, and I've been guilty of this myself. So that's why I say it's just like, hey, yeah, you might have too much time on your hands. You need something more productive to do. And a lot of times I can't help you with that, because like I said, a lot of times I feel like there's not enough time in the day. And that's why I always stress, like, yeah, I love getting up early because I feel like I get way more done, way more accomplished. Okay? I get way more done, I get way more accomplished, and I love every single moment of being able to do that, you know. But that's just me, you know. That's the only thing I miss about life before the pandemic, is I felt like when I went to bed earlier and got up earlier, I got way more accomplished, way more. And I definitely want to get back to that. So I'll leave it at that. But I think that's all I have for tonight's rant. Like I said, I'm making a habit of ranting more on Sundays because it's when the time I have to do it, and I'm not in a rush to do it. You know, so to me, that's just one of the best things to be able to get done. But yeah, it's just like, stop wasting time with people that have nothing to do with your future, or have nothing to do with you becoming the best version of you. That's, you know, that's one thing I can say with sincerity. And stop using the excuse, oh, we have all this history. You know, I've known this person, or I've been with this person all these years. I heard something that Jason Black said on his broadcast of business. He said, well, guess what? There have been people who have done long prison stints for 10 to 20 years. What does that mean? They have to hold loyalty to the prison, hold loyalty to being a criminal? So a lot of times, time doesn't mean a freaking thing. Remember that. You know, he made a great example of saying, you know, there have been people who have been in relationships where elevation took place within 3 to 5 years. And that was, you know, and even if they broke up, that was some of the best years of these people's lives. Or God forbid somebody passed away, unfortunately, because, you know, anything can happen. But these were considered like the best years of this person's life, because this person actually had an impact on their life. You know, so that's my whole thing. If a person, friend or significant other, if they don't have an impact on your life, get them the hell out of your life. How about that? If you're not working yourself to have an impact on somebody else's life, then you need to get the hell out of their life. How about that? That's another thing. It's like a lot of times, even in today's job market, I always say the tech companies got rid of the college requirement because they were like, hey, these college graduates might be quote unquote smart on purpose. I mean, smart on purpose. They might be smart on paper, but what real value do they add to the company? So that's why today's hot resumes have to have impact statements, not just duties, but what impact did you have working at this specific job, current or previous job? Give examples of what efforts that you worked on and what, basically name a project. How did you go about executing the project, and how did you as an individual have an impact, on at that job on these specific projects? And it's the same thing in a relationship and a friendship. Like, hey, what specific impact did you have working on these projects? I mean, being with this person as a friend or as a significant other. Outside of I love you and I'm there for you. Okay, but emotional support is great, but that doesn't pay the bills. Emotional support is great, but that doesn't help elevate one's skills. So that's the thing that I'm talking about. That's the thing that I'm mentioning. That's the thing that matters the most. What impact are you having on somebody's life? And hopefully it's a positive impact, because a lot of times, I always say a money move can be a person that listens to you while you vent. Absolutely. A money move can be a person who goes out with you to watch a movie, have a drink, go for a walk, whatever the case may be, take a trip. Everybody has their niche, has their thing. So a money move could be something to that effect. So that's what I said. Don't get me wrong. However, what is the ultimate money moves that you're making on other people, and not just being selfish and all about yourself? Only you can answer those questions. I cannot. And I'll leave it at that. So on that note, family, do the great 3 things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live, bro, like a fool. Take care.